Namaskar and welcome to Midday Prime. The Prime Minister's clarifications and helping us to understand the PLI scheme that's going to be in focus tonight. I beg your pardon today. But first, let's begin with the news, the big news of this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses a webinar focusing on production-linked incentive scheme, and he says that the first ever inclusion of the 13 sectors under the PLI shows that the government's commitment to boosting manufacturing. He reiterates that the government moves forward with minimum government and maximum governance philosophy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that the United Nations approval to celebrate 2023 as the International Year of Millets provides a huge opportunity for small farmers and urges agro-industry to promote millets across the world, in fact, like India has popularized yoga. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in a virtual summit with Sweden's Prime Minister Stefan Löfven, and the leaders will hold discussions on bilateral relations as well as regional and global issues. The Supreme Court says that the law has to be framed to put India in place a mechanism to control OTT platforms instead of mere guidelines. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta assures the court that the government will submit a draft for the consideration of the Apex Court. And vaccination drive gathers pace in the country. Over 1.8 crore vaccinations done so far. Vaccine Maitri also gets stronger. Consignment is sent to Ghana, Rwanda, Senegal, Democratic Republic of Congo and Ivory Coast. They're airlifted. And Zimbabwe has also approved the Made in India Covaxin. The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh attends the Combined Commanders Conference, and defence preparedness is being reviewed in this conference. It's taking place in Kevadia in Gujarat. On the second day of the fourth and final cricket test against England, India were at 146 for 6 a short while ago. After a cautious start, the visitors were bowled out for 205 in the first innings. So let's begin with the big story. In order to take the country on the path of rapid development, many big announcements have been made in the budget of 2021-22. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been constantly communicating with the people of different sectors to ensure that the provisions related to the budget get to the ground quickly and are also fulfilled. Addressing a webinar on production-linked incentives, the Prime Minister said that this year's budget schemes they associated with the PLI have been allocated. In fact, these schemes have been allocated nearly 2 lakh crore rupees, and it's provided about 5% of production as incentives.
PLI जिस सेक्टर के लिए है उसको तो ये लाभ हो ही रहा है। इससे उस सेक्टर से जुड़े पूरे इकोसिस्टम का बहुत फायदा होगा। ऑटो और फार्मा में PLI से ऑटो पार्ट्स, मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट्स और दवाओं के रॉ मटेरियल से जुड़ी विदेशी निर्भरता बहुत कम हो जाएगी। एडवांस सेल बैटरीज, सोलार पीवी मॉड्यूल्स और स्पेशलिटी स्टील, इसको मिलने वाली मदद से देश में एनर्जी सेक्टर आधुनिक होगा। इसी तरह टेक्सटाइल और फूड प्रोसेसिंग सेक्टर को मिलने वाली PLI से हमारे पूरे एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर को लाभ होगा।
And the Prime Minister also said that manufacturing transforms every aspect of the economy, creating an ecosystem, as we heard him say there. And he added that with increasing manufacturing capabilities, employment generation will increase.
बढ़ती हुई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कैपेबिलिटीज देश में एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन को भी उतना ही बढ़ाती है। भारत भी अब इसी अप्रोच के साथ बहुत तेजी से काम करना चाहता है, आगे बढ़ना चाहता है। इस सेक्टर में हमारी सरकार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को बढ़ावा देने के लिए एक के बाद एक लगातार रिफॉर्म्स कर रही है। हमारी नीति और रणनीति हर तरह से स्पष्ट है। हमारी सोच है मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट, मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस। हमारी अपेक्षा है जीरो इफेक्ट, जीरो डिफेक्ट। हमारी प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट, प्रोडक्ट्स की क्वालिटी और एफिशिएंसी ग्लोबल मार्केट में अपनी पहचान बनाए, इसके लिए हमें जुटकर काम करना होगा। और हमारी प्रोडक्ट यूजर फ्रेंडली भी होनी चाहिए, टेक्नोलॉजी में मोस्ट मॉडर्न होनी चाहिए, एफोर्डेबल होनी चाहिए, लंबे समय तक सस्टेन करने वाली होनी चाहिए।
And stressing on the importance of self-regulation, self-attesting, self-certification, Prime Minister Modi said that technology, and with technology, we must reduce such compliances. He added that the government is committed to reduce over 6,000 compliances at the state as well as the central level through machinery.
हमारी सरकार मानती है कि हर चीज में सरकार का दखल समाधान के बजाय समस्याएं ज्यादा पैदा करता है। और इसलिए सेल्फ रेगुलेशन, सेल्फ अटेस्टिंग, सेल्फ सर्टिफिकेशन, यानी एक प्रकार से देश के नागरिकों पर ही भरोसा करते आगे बढ़ना, इस पर हमारा जोर है। हमारा प्रयास इस वर्ष केंद्र और राज्य स्तर के 6,000 से ज्यादा कंप्लायंसेस को कम करने का हमारा इरादा है। कंप्लायंस का बर्डन कम होना ही चाहिए। टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई है, हर चीज को बार बार ये फॉर्म भरो, वो फॉर्म भरो, दिखना भरो, ये इस चीजों से मुझे मुक्ति देनी है।
And while stressing on increasing exports of the country, the Prime Minister said that every part of the country must become a part of the export chain.
सीमित जगह पे, सीमित देशों में, सीमित आइटम लेकर के और हिंदुस्तान के 2-4 कोने में से ही एक्सपोर्ट, ये स्थिति हर प्रकार से बदलनी है। हिंदुस्तान का हर जिला एक्सपोर्ट पे क्यों ना हो, दुनिया का हर देश भारत से इंपोर्ट क्यों ना करता हो, दुनिया के हर देश में हर इलाके में क्यों ना हो, हर प्रकार की चीजें क्यों ना हो। पहले इंडस्ट्रियल इंसेंटिव्स एक ओपन एंडेड इनपुट बेस्ड सब्सिडीज का प्रावधान होता था। अब इसको एक कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोसेस के माध्यम से टारगेटेड परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड बनाया गया है। पहली बार 13 सेक्टर्स को इस प्रकार की योजना के दायरे में लाना हमारा कमिटमेंट दिखाता है।
And the Prime Minister said that over 70 countries of the United Nations have supported India's proposal to declare 2023 as the International Year of Millets. And he added that that has become a big opportunity for our farmers, especially the small farmers. And in fact, the Prime Minister also said that through India's initiative of Vaccine Maitri, India is healing humanity. He urged all other sectors besides the pharmaceutical sector to get the benefits out of the changing stance towards India, that the world is changing its stance towards India. So let's try and understand, elucidate a little bit about what the Prime Minister has talked about. The Prime Minister has been elucidating the budget provisions, and let's try and understand what he has been saying. We are expecting to get some inputs on this right now. It will come up and behind me. Here it is. Let me just move, and we can see this now that the Prime Minister has elucidated about the budget provisions, about 2 lakh crore rupees for the production-linked incentive schemes. That's a huge amount of money. It's all been there for these incentives. These incentives are on incremental production, so companies in the manufacturing sector will be incentivized to produce more, and when they produce more, an average of up to about 5% on an average of their production they get as an incentive. So that's a huge deal, you know, for them to produce more and make India far more competitive in the global supply chain. Also, the United Nations has declared 2023 as the International Year for Coarse Grains, or millets basically. So that's pretty good for our country. And more than 70 countries have supported this proposal of our country. Batteries, also, besides this batteries, solar, photovoltaic modules, steel sector, all these will be modernized through PLI. The PLI in textiles and food processing sector will be benefiting agriculture. So we can see that it has an overall effect on the economy. The PLI in auto, in pharma, they will benefit auto parts, medical devices. All these companies are going to get benefit. As far as government emphasizing on self-regulation, self-attestation, self-certification, it's, as the Prime Minister said, putting, giving people the right to be themselves, that the government has faith in them and and gives them that kind of self-confidence and assurance. The minimum government model, the minimum government, maximum governance is the mantra of the government, is what the Prime Minister said. The government has been emphasizing on zero defect, zero effect kind of products. The zero effect means that zero effect on the environment. Zero defect is highest quality. So India is going to produce the best. And also increased manufacturing. We understand, what does it do? It increases employment, especially in the manufacturing sector, making us more competitive, spreading the economy out, and making the growth more inclusive and participation in a sense. Also, the emphasis on various other aspects was also given. Now we'll move on to our developing story. Our developing story is going to be coming up now. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today hold a virtual summit with Prime Minister of Sweden, Stefan Löfven. This is our developing story, and this will be the 5th interaction between these two leaders since 2015. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had visited Stockholm in April of 2018 for the first India-Nordic summit, and Prime Minister Stefan Löfven had visited India in February 2016 for the special Make in India Week. Earlier, the two leaders had met on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in September 2015. In April of 2020, the two Prime Ministers had a telephonic conversation. They discussed the situation arising out of COVID-19 pandemic. India and Sweden have warm and friendly relations based on shared values of democracy, freedom, pluralism, and rules-based international order. And our correspondent Amrit Pal Singh joins us for more information on this. Well, Amrit, put into context, this important bilateral meeting. It's going to happen virtually, but the ties between India and Sweden have grown steadily since Prime Minister Modi took office. Also, we've seen that Sweden has accepted, Sweden is one of those countries that believes that India should be a permanent member of the UN Security Council.
That's right, Mark. Sweden has always, backed India's position of being a permanent member of the UN Security Council. In fact, on a lot of issues like climate change, on the issue of the global security order, Sweden sees India and Sweden's positions are very close.
Yes.
Now, as far as this virtual summit goes, as you rightly say that the relationship has seen an upward trajectory, but the two leaders, when they meet today, they'll be taking stock of the situation, especially on trade and investment, ties in defense, research and development, science and technology, and take stock of the review the bilateral relationship and take it further. For example, about 250 Swedish companies have invested in India, are partnering with India, even in the Make in India program. About 75 Indian companies have invested in Sweden, though this number seems 75 very small. But remember, Sweden is a very, very small country. But yet the scope for collaborating further in terms of trade, bilateral trade, in terms of co-production, in terms of investments is huge. Sweden has an edge when it comes to technology. India has a huge trained human resource, especially in the field of IT. So the scope of engagement is much more. And I think the two leaders will be reviewing that and putting in place a plan for taking this the trade figures higher, the collaboration higher in the sectors that I've spoken about.
Absolutely. So Sweden, of course, has supported India's Make in India initiative and invested heavily in India. Also, Sweden, being a democracy with certain values, has also had a different approach to COVID. And India, of course, has done very well with COVID management. So, this is happening virtually as a result of COVID. So how do you think, will that play out in this discussion at all?
Yes, COVID and both dealing with the pandemic and post-pandemic economic recovery would be key on the agenda of the two leaders when they meet today. India, as you know, has a great strength when it comes to the pharma sector. Is already making vaccines for many countries. Some India has given friendly grants, some India has given gifts, especially in the neighborhood. With there are commercial contracts. Even wealth countries see India's pharma sector's potential, and also the advantage that India comes with of a low cost but world quality vaccine. So that surely would be discussed when the two leaders virtually meet today. Mark.
Amritpal Singh, thank you very much for those inputs. Moving on then to our next story. The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today attended the Combined Commanders Conference at Kevadia in Gujarat. The Defence Minister also visited the Statue of Unity along with the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, and the Chiefs of the three services. And the three-day Commanders Conference, it's a Combined Commanders Conference. It's a premier brainstorming event of the armed forces, of the military commanders from the three services. It's being held in Kevadia. And the conference will have the combined apex level military leadership of the country reviewing the security situation and defense preparedness of the armed forces, and also deliberating about pertinent organizational issues for evolving a joint military vision for the future. The valedictory session of this which will happen on the third and final day, will be chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will also be attending. So Meghna is joining us with inputs from Kevadia. So Meghna, Kevadia back on the map once again then for a big conference. The Commanders Conference of the Armed Forces. What's the situation like? Tell us about the arrangements and how's it affecting Kevadia itself, because Kevadia is a place which we want to also promote for tourism. We want to show the Statue of Unity to the world. We know that the Defence Minister and the Chief of Defence Staff visited, and the three service chiefs also visited the Statue of Unity.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Definitely, as you rightly put it, that Kevadia once again on the map. So definitely, when we have seen that several different kind of conferences, be it the DGP, IGP conference, or be it the civil services probationers, Praramb, the flagship program of the civil service probationers, the Praramb is also held here, has also been held here earlier, and other conferences have also been held here, which are of national importance and international importance as well. And this Combined Commanders Conference indeed is one thing that is extremely that has got extreme importance nationally. And when we have seen, especially when we have seen the defense minister visiting there, there was also a Sanskrit guide who guided across the entire place in Sanskrit. So definitely promoting our own culture, our own heritage, languages and different things at the Statue of Unity. Besides that, when we talk about the Combined Commanders Conference, the strategic importance of this conference is definitely quite a lot, because we have already told that it is a very important brainstorming event, be it for security dynamics, be it the challenges, the threats that we have, discussing about it, analyzing those things. Also, when we talk about the potential that the coordination that all the services need to have, the kind of coordination that people need to have, intelligence, cyber security, all these things are also discussed and deliberated in this conference. Besides that, not only for the army on the front of just national security, also on the front of when it comes to disaster management, because we know that the army, the tri-services play a very important role during disaster management. So all these things are also discussed in these kind of commander conferences. And when we also know that there are several kind of roads, infrastructural requirements, equipment requirements, defense procurement that the defense also has to do, the defense sector also has to do, that is also done here, because we don't only have the commanders here, but we also have the secretary level personnel, the bureaucrats also here. So all these things when combined together on the same platform definitely not only helps the security front, but also helps the procurement front. When we also know that this time in the union budget there has been a lot of allocation made for the defense on the capital expenditure. So we have also seen about 90% increase in the capital expenditure for defense sector. So that definitely means that there is a lot of procurement that's going to happen, indigenization or modernization of the forces, that is definitely going to boost Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat movement that is there. So all these things definitely would be one of the major focus of the conference this time. And besides that, the Prime Minister addressing the valedictory session, it will definitely give one more direction, one more focus for the services.
Absolutely. So, you discussed the key points that are on the agenda of this Commanders Conference. But, I mean, I'm coming back to the issue of Kevadia once again, because it is a place that is being built up for conferences like this, and the infrastructure is, being developed as a result. What do you see? I mean, do you see this more and more conferences, maybe international conferences, maybe Kevadia will become, a place which can host numerous such conferences in the future, which of different kinds?
Undoubtedly, Mark, this is one place which has been built and which has been sustainably built for conferences, for international conferences, definitely for tourists. As we know, there has been a huge amount of footfall for tourists, and it has again started after the things have opened up after the COVID, the lockdown. So this definitely this place has a lot of importance. And when we also know that there are places which have got importance in the culture, diversity, and also the ethics or the practices that India has in itself, be it the places where the different kind of yogasanas have been displayed, be it the jungle safari, be it the children's nutrition park, when nutrition has been showcased, different kind of nutrition in an interactive manner, or be it the Ekta Mall, where diverse range of things have from different states have been brought. So all these things, the conference definitely is one thing that is being held here, but through that conference, through that focus, bringing Kevadia on the map and developing the area around Narmada or around Kevadia colony definitely becomes very important, and definitely that shows on the map as well. And when we see different kind of articles being written about different kind of themes that are here, be it for night tourism or be it for day tourism, definitely this becomes important. And when we have international conferences and international delegations coming in, this definitely showcases India in a soft power of India.
Thank you very much, Meghna, for those inputs. Moving on then to our next story, which is our National Prime segment, Here's our National Prime segment. And the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be receiving the CIRA Week Global Energy and Environment Leadership Award. He'll be delivering the keynote address at the Cambridge Energy Research Associates Week 2021 via video conferencing. The CIRA Week was founded in 1983 by Dr. Daniel Rejin. It's considered the world's premier annual energy platform. CIRA Week 2021 It is being convened virtually from the 1st of March to the 5th of March 2021, and the Global Energy and Environment Leadership Award was instituted in 2016. It recognizes the commitment of leadership on the future of global energy and environment, and for offering solutions and policies for energy access, affordability, and environmental stewardship. And Supreme Court stressed that new guidelines of the government on regulating OTT platforms has no provision of prosecution, and the Apex Court asserted that content regulation will not be possible without an existing law. In reply to this, the Centre affirmed that a draft will be formed and it will be presented within 2 weeks. So a draft is being presented in 2 weeks. Vikas Sarthi has those inputs. So, Vikas, the Supreme Court, can you throw light on this on this observation of the Supreme Court that there has to be a law first before it can actually throw light on the situation?
This matter affects the Supreme Court on previous errors. At that point in time, Supreme Court wanted to know whether there are some kind of guidelines to regulate this content on OTT. Meanwhile, on yesterday, Supreme Court was hearing an interpretive bail of Amazon Prime India head Aparna Bhatt, who has approached the Supreme Court for an anticipatory bail because of controversy related to Startup Web3. So yesterday, the court was of the opinion that yes, there has been some kind of material from the ATC, and they wanted to know from the guidelines it has prepared so far. They are good enough to stop this. Today, Supreme Court, after going through all these guidelines, was of the opinion that if this regulation will be in place, then certainly it will discourage OTT providers to stop these practices. Government will have to introduce some kind of tailored provisions in these regulations. So they want to add some kind of for the violators of this content code. It is said that certainly we will look into this draft, and will look into the proposal made by Supreme Court that there must be some kind of provisions in the existing guidelines. So again, these draft guidelines will be placed before the Supreme Court, and then it will decide whether these measures are good enough to stop the abuse of OTT platform or not.
Okay, so what are the likely, when the government has to provide a draft law, after that, of course, the Parliament will begin its, the second part of the budget session. So we can likely see that this will be presented in this session itself?
Certainly, if government will have to introduce any kind of tailored provisions in these guidelines, then certainly the government will have to put before the Parliament. So whether these guidelines will be prepared by the 8th of April or not, it is very early to say, but certainly if tailored provisions are to be introduced, then it must be a part of the legislation.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Vikas Sarthi, for those inputs. Moving on then to our next story, news now about poll-related news and also the notification for the second phase of state assembly elections in West Bengal. It's going to be issued today, and 30 constituencies will be going to the polls in this phase. March 12 is the last date for filing of nominations, and scrutiny will be done on March 15. The candidates can withdraw their names by March 17. Also, notification for the second phase of Assam polls will also be issued today, and March 12 is the last date for filing of nominations, and scrutiny will be done on the 15th of March. Candidates can withdraw their names by March 17. 39 assembly constituencies are going to the polls in this second phase. We are talking about the Assam assembly polls here. And polling for the second phase will be held on the 1st of April in both these states. Assembly elections in West Bengal will be held in 8 phases, as we know, while it will be held in 3 phases in Assam. And in view of the upcoming assembly elections in Assam, the political parties are scrambling to form alliances. Assam's BJP in charge, Mr. Panda, has in fact said that the list of party candidates would be released soon.
The AGP is our long-standing partner, ally. They're a very old party in Assam, and there is no issue. There is a new party called the UPPL, which is has done very well in the borderland areas, and with them also we are in discussions. There is no major issue as such. It's just a question of tying up all the details before it is announced. So everything is in good standing.
Mr. J. Panda there. And Anibrato now joins us from Kolkata with more inputs. Anibrato, so put this into context for us. The elections in West Bengal are going to be in 8 phases, and we are talking now about the second phase. Things are building up. Give us a sense of, the political pulse. Anibrato? Well, unfortunately, we seem to have lost our contact with Anibrato, but, well, that's an important bit of news that the second phase of polling has, second phase for that, the issue of the notification today for the names will be happening. Anibrato, I'm told, is going to be with us, and we are in touch with him. We're getting through to him. Anibrato, are you with us now? Anibrato?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to ask you to just tell us a little bit about the political pulse in the state. I mean, it's a very crucial election. A lot of people are talking about it. It's degenerating news. I'm sure people on the streets are beginning to, discuss politics. Give us a sense of what's happening.
Yeah, only a few minutes beforehand, Trinamool Supremo Mamata Banerjee announced the candidate list of the Trinamool Congress. Trinamool Congress will contest in 291 out of 294 seats. 3 seats have been left for the Hill parties, And the thing is that Mamata Banerjee, as it was earlier told, that Mamata Banerjee will contest in Nandigram seat alone, Earlier it was thought of that Mamata Banerjee will contest in 2 seats, Nandigram and Bhawanipur, but Mamata Banerjee ruled out this possibility. She said that she will contest only in Nandigram seat.
Okay.
So this time, it's indeed while the BJP is only a sniffing distance from Trinamool Congress, and they are, eyeing to get more than 200 seats. So this time, it's largely to be seen what happens in the election. But Trinamool Congress is the first party here in Bengal announced the candidate list today.
Okay, thanks very much for those inputs, Anibrato. Moving on then to our next story, the meeting of the BJP's Central Election Committee is scheduled to be held today, but that meeting has been cancelled. Yesterday, the party's Central Election Committee, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, met to discuss candidates' list for the first 2 phases of polls. The party National President JP Nadda, the Home Minister Amit Shah, and the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh were among those who participated in the meeting. Well, the Prime Minister's Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, it completes 2 years today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on March 5 in 2019 launched the Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, and the scheme is meant for old age protection and also for social security of the unorganized workers. It is a voluntary and contributory pension scheme which the subscriber would receive a minimum assured pension of 3,000 rupees per month after attaining the age of 60 years, and if the subscriber dies, the spouse of that beneficiary shall be entitled to receive 50% of that pension as a family pension. Family pension is applicable only to the spouse. Let's take a look now at COVID-19 update from across the country as per the Health Ministry's figures. 13,819 recoveries recorded in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 1,08,39,894. And with this, the recovery rate currently stands at 97.01%. India's strategy is a three-pronged one: test, trace and treat. It's proving to be a success. The fatality rate stands at 1.41%, and the number of active COVID-19 cases in India stands at 1,76,319. That's about 1.58% of the total cases reported so far. The second phase of India's largest vaccination program of COVID-19 has gained momentum. And according to the latest updates, as of this morning, the cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country, the vaccine doses have crossed 1 crore 80 lakh, and a total of 1 crore 80 lakh 5,503 coronavirus vaccine doses have been given out so far. So out of which 1 crore 47 lakhs 96,835 healthcare workers and frontline workers were given the first dose, and 32 lakh 8,668 beneficiaries were given the second dose. So nearly 14 lakh beneficiaries were vaccinated in a single day. Meanwhile, the consignment of made in India COVID-19 vaccines were airlifted to Guyana, Jamaica and Nicaragua, and the Ministry of External Affairs' spokesperson Anurag Srivastava in a tweet has informed and shared images of the consignment of made in India vaccines, which were already lifted from Ghana, Rwanda, Senegal, Democratic Republic of Congo and Ivory Coast. The Information and Broadcasting Minister, Prakash Javadekar, today took the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine at a hospital in Pune. And the minister, through his Twitter handle, appealed to the people to get vaccinated, assuring them of the safety of the made in India vaccines. Well, it's Midday Prime now, and you're watching Midday Prime, and time for news and updates from the world of business. So the Sensex tanked close to 500 points, and the Nifty is trading at 151 points, down from yesterday's close. Domestic equity market benchmarks BSE, Sensex and Nifty 50 were trading lower on Friday, taking cues from their global peers. BSE Sensex was hovering around 50,500, while the NSE's Nifty was below 15,000. HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Housing Development Finance Corporation, Axis Bank, State Bank of India, Bajaj Finance, these were among the major contributors to the Sensex's fall. Now, stocks of ONGC, NTPC, Maruti Suzuki, Tech Mahindra, HCL Tech, Titan, they were among the top BSE Sensex gainers. Barring the Nifty Media Index, all the sectoral indices were trading. The Nifty Bank Index was also the top sectoral loser, in fact down 1.45%, followed by the Nifty Financial Services. The broader market outperformed equity benchmarks in trade today. So let's get a view on this from Ajay Mishra, who's joining us. Ajay, so with the markets, they're hovering, it's sort of range bound a little at about 50,000. So what would you think? And give us more about the business news after that.
I think that the markets have just tanked almost 500 points on yesterday's close mark, and it started the day with a decline. But now it is showing that barring the media sector, everything is trading into negative zone. So it's a point of it's a bit of profit booking on the higher side from the market, and analysts believe that one should be cautious at this point in time for any kind of fresh investments. But IPOs are the blockbusters at this point in time, and they are looking as favorites for the investors, because the recent IPO is also oversubscribed by almost 45%, and almost all the IPOs are doing quite good.
Okay.
And ICICI Bank today announced that it has reduced the home loan interest rate to 6.7%, the revised interest rate, which is the lowest in 10 years, by the bank is effective from today, which is the 5th of March 2021. The customers can avail this interest rate for home loan up to 75 lakh rupees. For loans above 75 lakh, interest rate are pegged at 6.75%. These revised rates will be available till 31st of March. ICICI Bank move came days after the lender like State Bank of India, the Kotak Mahindra Bank and Housing Development Finance Bank SDFC have already lowered their home loan rates. Last week, the State Bank of India, Kotak Mahindra Bank also reduced the interest rates on the home loans. The country's top lender offers home loan interest rates starting from 6.7% per annum. The bank waived the processing fees on the home loan till 31st of March. That's also very good news for the consumers. If you are really planning to buy a new house, it's a good news for the home buyers. Now, the digitization and automation have resulted in a record sequential growth of 33% in hiring activities in February. This is according to a report. The hiring in the IT and software services industries have registered a record growth of 33% in February compared to January because of the increased adoption of digital technologies in India. This is according to Naukri Jobs Peak Index for February 21. So after the corona, now the things are showing improvement, and almost 88% of the companies believe that they are going to offer more jobs in the months ahead, and that's good news for the youngsters who are actually looking for jobs. But IT and services led growth is really the bright spot at this point in time. We have seen the PMI for manufacturing and services both have shown positive results in the month of February, and that's clearly showing the result onto the job site. And that's all in the Prime Business Prime for today. Let's go back to Martin.
Thanks very much, Ajay. Thanks once again for joining us. And now let's take a look at news from across the globe. The leaders of the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, or the Quad, they are set to hold their first summit in a virtual format this month. And the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said that he looks forward to this meeting. So the meeting will see the US President Joe Biden, the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of Japan, Yoshida Suga. However, no schedule has been announced for the big meeting so far.
The Quad is very central to the United States and our thinking about the region, and looking at the Indo-Pacific also through the prism of our ASEAN partners and their vision of the Indo-Pacific. So yes, the Quad is very central in re-engagement in multilateral organisations, particularly in the Indo-Pacific, is key to building stability and peace in the Indo-Pacific. We share that view, we encourage that view, and we strongly welcome that view, and so I am looking forward to that first gathering of the Quad leaders. It'll be the first ever such gathering. This will become a feature of Indo-Pacific engagement, but it's not going to be a big bureaucracy with a big secretariat and those sorts of things. It'll be 4 leaders, 4 countries working together constructively for the peace, prosperity and stability of the Indo-Pacific, which is good for everyone in the Indo-Pacific.
Well, thousands of New Zealanders on the east coast of the country's North Island, they were evacuated to higher ground on Friday. It's the biggest city. Its biggest city was in fact put on alert after 3 offshore earthquakes in less than 8 hours triggered tsunami sirens and warnings. A powerful 8.1 magnitude earthquake struck off the east of New Zealand's North Island. This happened Thursday. This came shortly after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake in the same region. Earlier, a large 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck about 900 kilometers, that's about 540 miles away from the east of the North Island. Workers, students and residents in areas like Northland as well as the Bay of Plenty on the northern coast near Auckland, they were assisted by civil defense officials. An emergency alert was meanwhile issued for all coastal areas around Auckland. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center asked people to stay alert. So New Zealanders urge those who evacuated to higher ground or inland to stay where they are until an official is clear, gives an official all clear comes and that is from the authorities. So the Minister for Civil Defense there, in fact, in that country, asked people to stay calm and to check on, when that alert might come.
What we're asking people is to try and stay calm, touch base with people that you love, check on the people that you know might be most at risk, and to really just listen to the advice that is coming through. There is very good messaging available to people.
New Zealand's National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, said that areas under threat from the tsunami waves were from the Bay of Islands in Whangarei, as well as Matata to Tologo Bay, including Wakatane and Opotiki, and also the Great Barrier Island.
The National Emergency Management Agency issued a tsunami warning this morning following a magnitude 8.1 earthquake northeast of New Zealand near the Kermadec Islands around 9 a.m. The areas under land and marine threat, as the Minister has specified. Strong and unusual currents and unpredictable surges near the shore may be expected in other parts of New Zealand. This could affect beach, harbour, estuary and small boat activities, so we're advising to play it safe in those areas. People do need to stay off the beach and out of the water. We ask that people do not go sightseeing. This is important. The first wave may not be the largest. Tsunami activity will continue for several hours and the threat must be regarded as real until this warning is cancelled. Evacuation advice overrides the current COVID-19 alert level requirements. Listen to local civil defence authorities and follow any instructions regarding evacuation of your area.
The US has said that it's saddened by the deaths of demonstrators in Myanmar, and it condemns the use of violence by security forces in the country. The US State Department spokesperson Ned Price on Thursday said that Washington will take further action in response to the rising violence in the aftermath of the coup. Police used tear gas and gunfire to disperse protesters in several cities across Myanmar. On Wednesday, the United Nations said 38 people had been killed during Wednesday's demonstrations.
We are deeply saddened by reports that security forces killed as many as 24 people yesterday, March 3rd. We strongly condemn the use of violence by Burmese security forces against the Burmese people, including peaceful protesters, journalists, and civil society. We continue to urge the Burmese military to exercise maximum restraint. This latest escalation in violence demonstrates the fact of the junta's complete disregard for their own people, for the people of Burma. It is unacceptable, and the world will continue to respond. The United States will continue to respond. We'll continue to respond in tandem with our partners and allies around the world. There will be additional action on the part of the United States.
Well, the United States also condemned the arrest and detention of journalists in Myanmar. Ned Price called upon the military to immediately release the journalists.
We are deeply concerned about the increasing attacks and arrests of journalists. We call on the military to immediately release these individuals and to cease their intimidation and harassment of the media and others who are unjustly detained for doing nothing more than their job, for doing nothing more than exercising their universal rights.
Well, security was intensified at the U.S. Capitol on Thursday in Washington after the police warned that a militia group might try to attack it to mark a key date on the calendar of baseless conspiracy theory. A deadly assault took place at the U.S. Capitol in January after an insurrection by supporters of the former president, Donald Trump. And the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they issued a bulletin on Tuesday saying an unidentified group of militia violent extremists discussed plans in February to take control of the U.S. Capitol and remove Democratic lawmakers on or about March 4. And some news now from Iraq. Pope Francis will be landing in Baghdad today The capital woke up amid heightened security measures and a curfew expected to last 4 days. Iraq is deploying thousands of additional security personnel to protect Pope Francis during his 4-day visit, which comes after a spate of rocket and suicide bomb attacks raised fears for the Catholic leader's safety. Nearly 2 weeks ago, the Iraqi government banned most travel between provinces and imposed a nationwide curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. on weekdays and for 24 hours a day on Friday to Sunday, following a sharp rise in COVID-19 infections. Let's now take a look at an update on COVID-19 from across the world. 11 crore 62 lakh people have been infected by this virus globally, and the tally of recoveries stands at 9 crore 19 lakh. These people have recovered. COVID-19 has claimed 25 lakh 82,000 lives worldwide thus far. The US is the worst hit country. It has been for a long time, where more than 2 crore 95 lakh people, 26,000 cases of COVID-19 have been recorded there. The country's fatality rate is also the highest. It's crossed 5 lakh 33,000. So the US President Joe Biden on Thursday said that he continues to speak with Republican lawmakers about his proposed COVID relief package as the US Senate begins debate on a $1.9 trillion bill. The Senate voted on Thursday to take up Joe Biden's top legislative priority.
I've been talking to a lot of my Republican friends in the House and the Senate, continue to do that, and we have. We've had a number of meetings with Republicans on the coronavirus bill, and House, Senate, combination of both, so we're keeping everybody informed.
And you're watching Midday Prime Time now for news from the world of sports. Well, forgive us for those technical glitches, but Deepika has the sports news. Over to you, Deepika.
Look at the sports update. Currently 6 wickets are down and India will be aiming to get close to England's first innings score on day 2 of the 4th and final test match in Ahmedabad. Rishabh Pant is currently unbeaten and will be aiming to build a partnership with Washington Sundar. Ravichandran Ashwin and Rohit Sharma lost their wickets after the lunch break to Jack Leach and Ben Stokes. Opener Rohit also missed out on a half-century. Meanwhile, Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane were dismissed before the lunch by Leach and James Anderson respectively. Stokes also took the crucial wicket of Virat Kohli before the lunch. An update from badminton. Olympic silver medalist PV Sindhu has made it to the quarter-finals of the Swiss Open badminton competition. Sindhu defeated America's Iris Wong by 21-13 and 21-14 in straight game. Now PV Sindhu will face Thailand's Busanan in the women's single quarterfinals. And Srikanth, former world number 1, also won the men's singles second round match over Francis Thomas Roxhill by 21-10, 14-21 and 21-14 to advance to the quarterfinals. After winning the first set, Srikanth had to struggle in the second set. The Frenchman Roxhill won the game and made the match exciting. But in the third set, Srikanth returned once again and won the match. Today, Srikanth will be facing Thailand's Kentanan in the quarterfinals. That's all in the sports update. Over to you, Mark.
Thanks very much, Deepika. Well, that's all we have for you in Midday Prime today. Thank you for joining us. Namaskar. Thanks once again.